We're going to call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order on May 19th, 2021. As chair of the Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and subsequent extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID being 824-9066-5144 and the passcode being 308638. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-589-3329 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states his or her presence, you should also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Patricia Clee.
I am here. I can hear the proceedings. I am alone in the room at the moment, but my husband is in the house. Thank you.
Alderwoman Elizabeth Liu.
I'm here alone and I can hear you.
The clerk is present. I am in this room alone and I can hear everyone. Alderwoman at large, Shoshana Kelly.
I'm here, I'm alone, and I can hear everyone.
And Alderman at large, Brandon Michael Laws.
I'm here, I'm alone, and I can hear everyone.
And Alderman at large, Michael B. O'Brien, Senior.
Present, I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, Madam Clerk, I'm present. I'm social distancing and I am alone in the room. So the first item, all members are present, certainly a quorum. The first item is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the committee? If not, we'll go on to communications. First from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, motion to accept, place on file, and award a multi-year independent contract for administering housing opportunities for persons with AIDS with Harbor Homes Incorporated in the amount of $1,396,732. Funding will be through Department 171 Community Services, Fund 55699, other contract services by roll call.
All right, and I believe Ms. Marchant may be here on this.
Good evening. Yes. Sorry, I just lost my Citrix connection again for a second. I'm not here for the WAPA, if that's what you're asking, though. That would be a Bobby.
It would? Well, I don't see Bobby on the line.
I was at Human Affairs the other night when she spoke.
What?
I was at Human Affairs the other night when she spoke. And this is a new distribution of federal funding from a traditional source that they use regularly. I don't know much more than that about it, though. I'm sorry to say.
Well, it is a grant for to provide housing opportunities for persons with AIDS from the Department of HUD, which is Housing and Urban Development.
I believe it's above and beyond the normal distribution that they get.
Yes, it is. Now,
reduction.
if people want, and now there's of course a memo and other material on this. If anybody wants more detail than what you see in the memo, that would be fine, and we can make sure that Ms. Bagley is here at the next meeting. If not, we will, so a motion to table would be in order. Otherwise, we will simply call for a vote on the motion to approve. So, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Geez. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou. You're on mute.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next item from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathray.
I motion to accept and place on file and approve the one-year renewal of software maintenance for the continued operation of Cartograph in the amount of $110,000. Funding will be through Department 122 Information Technology and 169 Wastewater Fund. $88,000 from 54407 Software Maintenance and $22,000 from 81700 Infrastructure Improvements. By roll call.
All right, and I believe Ms. Kleiner is here on this.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. That I think there may be some confusion on this, and I do want to clarify. This is a one-year renewal on an existing contract. You did approve the contract with Cardiograph last year at this time, which covered us from 2020, July of 2020 through July of 2023. That contract consists of 3 payments of $110,000 a year. And at that time, we said we would bring it forward yearly for your approval. So this is the second installment on that contract. Cardiograph, as you know, is the software that we maintain for the Department of Public Works, which includes Parks and Recreation and wastewater. There's many different sections and different modules to this. And this is a system that IT maintains for them. That's why 80% of the contract as an enterprise system is through the IT budget.
Anybody have anything on this? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathray.
Mr. Mayor, a motion to accept, place on file, and approve the change order to the pump station upgrades Phase 1 contract for additional electrical upgrades needed at Newton Pump Station with DeFelice Corporation of Drake, Massachusetts, in an amount not to exceed $27,235.18. Funding will be through Department 169 wastewater fund, SURF loan, activity pump station upgrades, Phase 1 by roll call.
All right, Mr. Boucher?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dave Boucher, wastewater superintendent. As was mentioned, this is for additional electrical work that was needed at the Newton Pump Station. Initially, we were going to pull power off an existing pole to the pump station. After the bid, Eversource determined that we couldn't pull three-phase power off of the existing pole. They did install a brand new pole for us and brought power to it. However, the pole ended up being 300 feet away from where the existing pole was. So this money is to cover the additional conduit that was needed, additional fiber, and additional power cable for this project.
All right, anybody have anything, questions or comments? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Hold on one second.
Now, it looks like our clerk is on mute and momentarily left her seat.
I can call the roll if you'd like, Mr. Mayor.
All right, well, Alderwoman Klee is vice chair of the committee, so we will wait. Our clerk is
Oh,
back.
she's back. Oh, she's back. She didn't want me to take her job.
Yeah,
I apologize. Family member was choking. They needed help, really.
Oh, definitely. We could hear it.
Geez. Oh,
We could hear it.
Take care of that. Please go ahead. Don't worry.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. Call the roll.
All right, call the roll.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next item is again a communication from Kelly Parkinson, purchasing manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the purchase of a Firebanks brand vertical solids handling pump from Hayes Pump, Inc. of Concord, Massachusetts, in the amount of $29,624.95. Funding will be through the Department 169 wastewater fund, wastewater account category 71 equipment by roll call.
And I believe, again, Mr. Boucher.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is our Northgate pump station. It's one of our largest pump stations. It operates off 2 submersible pumps. This is for the purchase of a new pump. We purchased a brand new pump beginning of 2020. The other pump is reaching its end of useful life. So we want to have a new pump on hand in case this one fails and we're not stuck with just one pump. The reasons for purchasing it now, we're starting to see fatigue on our older pump, and the lead time to get these pumps is 12 to 14 weeks. So we want to order it sooner than later.
All right.
Can you take
Anybody
any questions?
have, anything for Mr. Boucher? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderman Woman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. Next
Thank you.
item is a communication again from Kelly Parkinson, purchasing manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, a motion to accept, place on file, and award a contract for the construction administration, inspection, and oversight of the construction phase of the Transit Center retrofit project to GPI and Samlin D. Elia Architects in the amount of $120,818.84. Funding will be through Department 186 Transportation Fund, 53125 Construction Management Services, and FTA 5336 Annual Funding Grant by roll call.
All right, and I believe this time it is Ms. Marchant.
Correct. Thank you very much, Mayor. This contract is to continue work with GPI, who has been our design contract engineer for this project, along with Sammy D'Italia Architects, for them to help us with the construction oversight and management of the Transit Center retrofit, which we are very excited to finally be getting underway. And so this will provide on-site inspection services 45 hours a week in accordance with FTA standards for the length and breadth of the project.
Anybody?
Yes, please.
Alderman Lou.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. When we were presented this at the infrastructure meeting in June of last year, it was said that the Nashua contribution would be about $97,000. Well, the total project cost at that time was presented as $970,000.
Yes.
Is that number still holding?
As far as the city of Nashua's contribution?
No, that wasn't. That was the total project cost. One of the PowerPoint
Yes.
said gave us that figure, close to $1 million, let's say.
That is a great question. So as every other project that's actually gone to bid in this past year, and with the supply and construction schedule, that number has not held. It is, as you'll see with the contract, either the next contract or the one after that you're seeing tonight, it's 1.12 million is the cost. And so the state of this grant is actually from a nationally competitive 5339 grant that we were awarded to do this project. And so we were using a much larger federal bucket of money for this project. The state of New Hampshire also matched some of the capital contribution on this project. So the overall contract has a higher amount of city dollars in it than was presented a year ago, but all of the money has been appropriated and is accounted for.
Okay, thank you. Just that's fine, but just for clarification, are the three entities that are contributing to this project maintaining their original percentage?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a
All right.
very fair question.
Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? All right. The clerk, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Clay,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes, sorry.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next item again from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Alderman Clay.
No, the motion passed.
No, you're supposed to do the
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
We're now
Jumped
on
the gun.
the next item,
All
the
right.
rehab.
I motion to accept, place on file, and award a contract for the construction work at the Transit Center and the adjacent pavement and site work to D.L. King and Associates in the amount of $1,129,710. Funding will be through Department 186 Transportation Fund, 81650 Land Improvements, and 54210 lead hazard remediation by roll call.
You've heard the motion, but this is again Ms. Marchant.
That is correct. Thank you. So this is the award to actually construct the transit center rehab retrofit. So this is the physical upgrades to the transit center itself, but also to the physical infrastructure underground and of the ground around that area. This project is again something that the city went after a nationally competitive 5339 grant that we were awarded. And so that is paying for the vast majority of this, with some matching from funds coming from the state of New Hampshire and then the rest from the city. And we are very excited to finally move this project forward.
Discussion or questions? Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Marchant, does this also take care of the redirecting of the parking lot that's adjacent to it? Did I understand that correctly? So the redesign of that enter and exit type is also part of this?
That's a great question. It is not part of this contract. That was not part of the grant. We have separately used dollars and are almost done with a final design for bid, which we don't have funding to do, but a redesign of the City Hall parking lot area. So we do have a design that was working on kind of parallel to this. As part of this project, the entrance to the City Hall parking lot from the transit center side will be closed off. And so the City Hall parking lot does function. It does meet the standards for being one way in and one way out from the other side, but it isn't an ideal configuration. And so we will have that packet shortly that we can look at funding for separately, but that isn't necessarily, it isn't part of the federal bid here.
Just one comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Alderwoman.
I thank you. Director Marchant, I was a little concerned about, I know it meets the standard, but it is a tight fit trying to get in and out, especially with someone with an SUV. And we have the handicap spots right there too. So I was just a little concerned if we're only having that one entrance to come in and out of, but we don't foresee any kind of issues. I know even with the entrance, the way it is, it sometimes can be a little tight trying to get in and out of there, especially those end parking spots near the transit center. But engineering or whoever has taken a look at it, and we're good to go with that.
As I said, it's not ideal. It does meet the minimum standards. The really good thing is that it is so small and so tight that people travel at slow rates of speed, and it is maybe not ideal, and which is why we have a new design coming that we hope to be able to fund. It is not, it has not been found to be unsafe with this new configuration.
That's all I care about. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next, we have a communication from Kelly Parkinson.
Mr. Mayor,
Carrie Gathwood.
I motion to accept, placed on file, and award a contract for Nashua Transit System cleaning services to Bill's World Class Cleaning Services in the amount of, I kind of wrote over it. I think it says $45,800. In parentheses, $15,600 per year. Funding will be through Department 186 Transportation Fund 54200 Janitorial Services by roll call.
Mr. Mayor, I think that was 46,800.
46, thank you.
Yes, 46.
Yes. All right, I wrote over that by accident.
Now, I believe Ms. Marchant again will be on this one.
Yes, thank you. As part of a reaction to COVID and based on customer complaints, we worked last year to really step up the cleaning services provided at both the transit center and with the administration building. At that time, we got short-term contracts under an emergency state. And what we'd like to do is move forward with the cleaning service contracts. This is what they're for. The contract is for 6 days a week. Each day of the week, the Nashville Transit Center is open. We will have a cleaning service come in the evening and 3 days a week at the administration building. This cleaning service has provided a level of service above and beyond what we had and our customers had experienced in the past, and especially with the importance of cleanliness and hygiene at this point. It is something that we feel very strongly about continuing the service.
Anyone? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, through you to Ms. Marchant. Won't the transit center be under construction for several months during the first year? And are we just paying them the same in spite of that?
This is a great question. As much as possible, the transit center will actually remain open the whole time. The operational logistics of we still have to run the bus system all 6 days a week, and that's our ticket counter. That's where everything is secure. So we're actually going to work in phases, one half and then the other half, and we'll still be operating largely out of that transit center. So it is a great question, but the cleaning services will pretty much be needed every single day either way, and it'd probably be dirty from all the dust. So while we are going to have very significant renovations, there will be always some place to clean because we will be operating, maybe shifting around in there.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll probably need them more. Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next, communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the increase to purchase order 162572 for physicals performed for 77 firefighters to LifeScan Wellness Centers in the amount of $47,586. Funding will be through Department 152 Fire Rescue Fund $31,502.10 from account 53135 Medical Services and $15,433.90 from account 71000 Equipment by roll call.
All right, and I think we have Assistant Chief Buxton here for this.
Good evening, everyone. This is basically to cover the expense associated with the physicals for our specialty teams. We have a hazmat team and we have a dive team. And the physicals that we require to meet NFPA 1582 are a little bit more specialized than what you would be able to achieve through your regular doctor. So we have them done through this process. This is an annual expense. We usually send anywhere between 75 to 90 individuals for physicals.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Alderman Harriet Gathright, we now have a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager.
A motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the purchase of two 2021 Pierce Arrow XT pumpers and fit up from Allegiance Fire and Rescue in the amount of $1,454,947. Funding will be through Department 152 Fire Rescue Fund, SURF 81500 vehicles by roll call.
Chief Buxton?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you. So some of you may remember this. We were in front of different committees earlier in the year to get the bond approved to purchase these two pieces of apparatus. Basically, we're trying to purchase them together because it will result in overall savings of about $160-something thousand for the city if we do them at the same time. This is consistent with a surf schedule replacement program. One of the engines is just being bought 12 months early.
And when do you expect delivery?
Delivery for these would be approximately January, February of next year. Build times, because of the supply chain, are a little bit delayed from what they normally are. Normally an engine takes 8 to 10 months to build.
Okay. Any questions, comments from anyone? Could you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Donches.
Yes, motion passes. Next is again a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the procurement of 12 sets of personal protective equipment, PPE, from Bergeron Protective Clothing in the amount of $31,073, which includes shipping of $2,589.42 per set. Funding will be through Department 152 Fire Rescue, Fund 61110, Protective Clothing, by roll call.
Excuse me, Chief Buxton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it's all right with you, I'm going to defer to Deputy Chief Kirk, who's also on the call. This is his area of responsibility.
All right, let's go to the Deputy Chief then.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, committee members. This purchase represents the most recent phase in our cycle of replacing personal protective clothing for the firefighters. Each one of the ensembles represents a jacket, a pair of pants, and a set of boots. And as I said, it's in keeping with the normal cycle of the shelf life of our protective clothing. The quote is through Bergeron Protective Clothing of Epsom, New Hampshire, and the actual gear is supplied through Globe, which is also in New Hampshire.
Anybody, questions or comments? I don't see anything. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Donches.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Next, again, a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, place on file, and approve a multi-year on-call engineering service contract with Hoyt Tanner and Associates, Inc. of Manchester, New Hampshire, and further to approve task order number 1 under that contract for structural investigations in an amount not to exceed $14,251. Funding will be through Department 160 Administration Engineering Fund, General Account Category 53 Professional and Technical Services, $12,000, and Department 161 Streets Fund, Capital Activity Infrastructure Improvements, by roll call.
All right, and City Engineer Dan Hudson is here. Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So late last year, we selected the firm of Hoyt Tanner Associates for engineering services. That was for highway, bridge, traffic, and bicycle pedestrian work. It's intended to be a multi-year contract. That's why it's going through this process here. But a multi-year contract whereby we negotiate terms and then we can issue task orders as needs arise that we can't handle internally for whatever reason. We're bringing this together with task order 1, which is for a review of our pedestrian bridges. Highway bridges are regularly reviewed by DOT on a periodic basis, but pedestrian bridges are not. And we have a number of them in our parks and other places. So this task here is for them to do an assessment, look at those, and give us some recommendations about any treatment that they may need.
All right. You've heard Mr. Hudson, of course. Any questions or comments? Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When you said about the pedestrian bridge, are you talking about, for instance, those that are like in Mines Falls that are going over the river and so on? It's not any of the like the overpasses that are from the highway or anything of that nature, correct? That would be DOT.
Yeah, but most of those are DOT. But for instance, we have some rail trail bridges which cross city streets. Those wouldn't necessarily be reviewed by DOT. But yes, primarily it is those bridges that are in parks such as Mine Falls.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws
Yes.
and Alderman O'Brien
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have again a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, place on file, and approve change order number 5 for the 2019 SIP lining project with Kenyon Pipeline Inspection of Queensbury, New York, in the amount of $200,000. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater Activity, Stormwater Abatement by roll call.
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is, as noted, change order 5 to a contract, a 2019 contract with Kenyon Pipeline Services. They've been our primary firm that's done CCTV, television inspection, basically of pipes, and then lining of those pipes where needed. This contract is to buy us a little more time. We did bid a project out for this year for CIPP, and we will have a different contractor, but that award of that project got a little bit delayed while we were in the process of pulling our next sewer bond. So for that reason, we decided to enter into this change order to buy a little more time and continue work, some of which is critical in nature and time because it needs to be done related to the paving program.
All right. Anybody? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Next is a communication from Kelly Parkinson. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the change order number 2 to the pavement management service contract with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. of Burlington, Massachusetts, in an amount not to exceed $31,600. Funding will be through Department 160 Admin Engineering Fund Bond Activity Paving by roll call.
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as part of the paving program work we do, we regularly assess the condition of pavement, and that's to help us determine which roads should be paved on what schedule, and to just confirm and reassess that what we're doing is achieving the goals that the program has in improving the overall condition. This will be the 3rd year of a contract that we've had with this firm. Each year they do a third of the city. This year they will assess the northern third of the city. So that we, back this original contract, they laid out the pricing for 3 different years. This is the 3rd year, consistent with that original agreement.
Okay. Discussion? Anybody? Questions?
I have a question. What's considered?
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
what's considered the north of the city? Can you kind of like give me a one of the major streets?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it would be north of, Canal up in the north end. On the north side of the river.
Right, going up to
I don't have the,
Merrimack, right?
yes,
No?
yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't
From Canal
have
on,
the exact breakdown. Of course, it varies, but yeah, they like I said, on a rotating basis, they review different sections of the city. So every area gets looked at every third year. But this year, that's the focus is up in that area.
have a follow-up.
Yeah, of course.
What areas have we got that information on so far?
So we've gotten the whole city over because we've been doing this for a while. But I believe they have been working south to north. I think this last year they did the middle of the city, and the year before that was the southern end of the city. So on a rotating basis, they keep going around and reviewing conditions in each area every third year.
Okay, so can I have a follow-up?
Yes.
So this is all part of the 10-year plan, is that correct?
It is, yeah.
It is. All right.
Well, it's part of the 10-year paving program. We're,
Yeah.
5 years into that.
Okay.
We have a 5-year paving bond. We'll be coming back seeking continuation of that program because at the outset it was envisioned as a 10-year program. But yes, we're about halfway through that program.
So another follow-up. So
Yeah.
which areas have we reviewed, let's say twice?
So in 5 years, I mean, we would, if this is the northern section, we would have reviewed the south and the middle probably twice.
Okay.
Every year they do an assessment and we get an update. And we're seeing the positive benefit of the program. The average pavement condition is increasing. We've made significant improvements to our arterial roadways as well as neighborhood roadways. We are doing paving around the whole city. I don't want the impression to be that we're not, because we're assessing, we're just doing one area of the city. We've been paving in all areas of the city every year.
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
And I do agree with that, but just for clarity for myself, when we talk about the areas of the city in regards to the pavement, you have south, north, middle.
Yes. Three. That's basically the division we have.
That's the way it's
for this assessment task. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hudson, I do appreciate this because I know when I get calls from constituents about why isn't my road being paved, it's in really, really bad condition, or, you're paving a road that's not as bad. I've been able to get a hold of Ms. Byers and get exactly what the assessment is of it. And if it's in a really bad assessment, it actually sometimes may not filter to the top because that's going to need an entire paving and you're going to be spending a little bit more energy to save a road sometimes. So it's been very helpful to have these numbers that when I do talk to my constituents, I can explain them the whole process and the whole system. And we do know where it kind of also gives, I think, the my constituents and the residents a feeling as to when they will be paved next and so on. So I think this is a great system and I do appreciate you guys doing it every year, at least one. We know every 3 years. And for Alderwoman Harriet Gathright, I'm the North. Ward 2 is also.
So, okay. Can I have a follow-up since she brought that up?
You're south.
Okay. I'm northeast. I'm considered south. That area.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm the North.
I think Alderwoman Lou had her hand up. I'm not sure.
Yes.
All set. Thank you.
Anyone else? Could you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Alderman Clee.
Most definitely, yes.
Alderwoman Lowe.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Southside Mike says yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, place on file, and approve brush grinding at the Four Hills landfill for FY21 in an amount not to exceed $54,480 to the Dirt Doctors of Pembroke, New Hampshire. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste, Fund Solid Waste, Account Classification, 55 other services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent of Solid Waste. This is the, we have a bunch of piles of brush that have been dropped off by residents or contractors at the landfill. And this is a grinding operation that we want to have done there to make our piles disappear. We've noticed that throughout the pandemic over the year, a lot of people have been home cleaning and we have a lot more brush than we normally do. So that's why this is hopefully going to be a one-time operation this summer. And it's going to be approximately 12 days to complete the job.
Anybody? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Mr. Mayor, I just have a quick question.
Yes, Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you so much. Mr. LaFleur, I can understand. I've seen a lot of my neighbors as well as ourselves cleaning a lot of brush and delivering it to the landfill. But the question I have is, when we've had severe storms and so on, I know I lost a lot of trees in some of those really bad storms that we've had. Would we do something like this then, or is this just even way above beyond that?
Yeah, yes. Normally, if we have a big storm like the ice storm a few years back, we did a big brush grinding. We separated that out. But typically, if it's a big enough storm, we'd get some help from the government or from the state, and they would help pay to have that done if it's a big enough storm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. Mr. LaFleur, is this just to hasten the decomposition of the brush?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that question.
Is this just to hasten the decomposition of the brush?
Well, the brush is actually tree branches and stuff like that. That's what's going to be grinding them up. And we'll use those chips for in our landfill to help tighten up the soils and everything when we have to drive over the trash during wet weather events.
Thank you. And just one other question, unrelated. Do you still make compost at the landfill, or did we discontinue that?
How do I say this correctly? We collect yard waste, we turn the piles, but we don't turn them properly enough to cook the piles enough where we could give out compost to the residents. There'd be so many weed seeds and there's pesticides in that. We use anything that we do compost at the landfill for our side slopes in the landfill.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Yes. Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next item is again a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept and place on file and approve a 3-year contract between the City of Nashua and North Coast Services LLC of Concord, New Hampshire for the processing and disposal of electronic waste from Nashua Recycling Center at an annual cost not to exceed $75,000. In parentheses, $225,000 total amount, pending approval of the FY22 operating budget. The term of this contract will be July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste, Fund Solid Waste, Account Classification, 55 other contracted services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a 3-year contract as it states for our electronics waste recycling and our fluorescent bulb recycling. We went out to bid. This is a new contract or a new contractor for the city, North Coast Services. We've never worked with them, but there's been nothing but good references from them. And we did an analysis, the recycling coordinator and myself, and it shows that this company here will be cheaper for the city to work with.
Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. LaFleur, just a quick question. I know that recycling is becoming costly. While it's still a good thing, it is becoming costly. I know there was at one point where we were talking about it went from $1 a ton, or however it's measured, to $85. Would this contract change that cost, or is this separate?
I think there's some confusion, Alderwoman Clee. This is electronics recycling, not single stream recycling.
Okay.
But yes,
I was confused. Thank you.
The costs are going up. This is actually our average for the past 7 years. So we're actually staying right on target with our electronics recycling.
Yeah. Yes, I was confused, and thank you so much. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Anyone else?
Yep.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You went out to bid. How many bids did you get?
We ended up getting, I believe, 5.
5.
So it was a good process.
So with this services and great services, these folks came out on top, I'm assuming.
Yes, they did.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dunches.
Yes. Motion passes. Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, place on file, and approve a 3-year contract between the City of Nashua and Omdis Mechanical and Appliance LLC of Merrimack, New Hampshire for refrigerant recovery, CFCs, services at the Nashua Recycling Center at an annual cost not to exceed $20,000, pending approval of the FY '22 operating budget. The term of this contract will be July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, Solid Waste, Account Classification, 55 other contracted services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent Solid Waste. This is a contract to take care of the CFCs at the landfill. This vendor that's actually won the contract for the next 3 years had previously done it 6 years ago for us. So there's not very many vendors that can do this type of work in our area. So they seem to keep flip-flopping back and forth. One vendor outbid the other vendor. This company here, Ondas Mechanical, has done it for us. We feel completely safe with them. Last year's prices were $6 per unit. Ondas's Mechanical is actually dropping it for $1 a unit for us for this year. So we'll actually save $1 per unit.
Alderwoman Clee.
Just a quick question. I can see in the documentation, the contract is actually in total for $60,000 with the $20,000 per year as a 3-year contract. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Discussion, questions? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dunches.
Yes. Motion passes. Next item, a communication from Kelly Parkinson at Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, place on file, and approve a 3-year contract between the City of Nashua and Winfield Allure, Inc. of Atkinson, New Hampshire for the recycling of scrap metal at the Fort Hills landfill. The term of this contract will be from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, pending approval of the FY22 operating budget. Revenue generated through the contract will be directed to Department 168 Solid Waste, Fund Solid Waste, Account Classification, 44 charges for services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur?
Thank you again. This is for our scrap metal recycling. The only reason why this comes before you guys is because it's a 3-year contract. Other than that, this is a revenue for the city, so we're going to make some money on this stuff. Last year, we recycled about 1,400 tons of metal. The formula that was used for all the companies that bidded on the project were through the American metal markets. They take the weight, they subtract the whatever the rate is at the American metals market is, subtract the trucking, and that's what we get for a revenue to the city. The Winfield alloy was the most favorable for the city when we did a calculation, and we're going to go with them this year.
Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you. So it looks like there were 2 bidders on this, and they were just a slightly higher than the other one. And the one you also went with is New Hampshire versus Massachusetts too. So that also gives them a boon. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee?
Yes.
Alderman Lou?
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Laws?
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien?
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes. Next item, communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, placed on file, and approve a 3-year contract for air quality and landfill gas sampling and analysis services at Shady Lane Landfill and New Searle School for the Solid Waste Department with TRC of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount not to exceed $69,300. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, Solid Waste Account Classification, 53 Professional and Technical Services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur?
Thank you. This is air quality monitoring over at the New Searle School and the Shady Lane landfill. The state actually requires us to do this, so it's a permit-driven request that we have the schools sampled. It's done 3 times a year throughout the schools. There's air canisters inside, and they do all the monitoring for us throughout the year.
Alderman Clee.
Thank you. I don't know if you can actually answer this, Mr. LaFleur, but when I look at the 3 bids, they go from the $69,300 to $105,655.68. It seems like an extreme bounce from one to the other. Is there a reason for something like that, or just one charges more?
One actually charges more, and the other one's been doing it for this company here has been doing it for us for a lot of years. They know exactly what's entailed into it. So we actually question them to make sure that their bid was proper, and they feel confident in the bid that they gave us. And it's on par. It's on par from the years before.
Great. And also another New Hampshire company versus the 105,000 from an Arkansas company. So I appreciate that again too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Could anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee?
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou?
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Laws?
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien?
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Next from Kelly Parkinson, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, motion to accept, place on file, and approve a 3-year contract with Chem Service Environmental Analysis of Milford, New Hampshire for water quality testing services at Nashua landfill sites for the Solid Waste Department in the amount not to exceed $129,797. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, Solid Waste Account Classification, 53 Professional and Technical Services by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur?
Thank you so much. This is for our groundwater testing at all of the closed landfills and the Four Hills landfill that's operating right now. At Four Hills, we do this twice a year. Closed landfills, we only have to do it once a year per DES request. The Four Hills landfill, we have 38 wells there, and all of the other closed landfills, we have 18 other wells. ChemServe actually comes on site during those times of the year, and they collect all the samples and they analyze it for us. And Alderwoman Clee, you would be glad to see that this is from Milford, New Hampshire.
Alderwoman Clee.
Yes, I am. I am a big proponent of buying local, so to speak. But again, I have to say, 129,797 up to 281,193 from an Augusta, Maine company. I guess it boggles my mind, the difference.
Maybe
apparently
it's travel time.
I was just going to joke with that and say apparently they like to get their travel money in. This company's been doing it for a lot of years for the city, and they're right on par, even including with all the new PFOA testing that has to be done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderwoman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Next, communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, place on file, and approve emergency purchase order request for the repair of a broken sewer line at 116 All Street to Chris Contracting of Nashua, New Hampshire, in the amount of $25,000 by roll call.
Now, Mr. Hudson, I believe is still here.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Dan Hudson, City Engineer. So Mr. Mayor's memo here describes it very well, but we had a resident at 116 Old Street that had emergency sewer issue. The ordinances are such that for 1 and 2 family homes, if there's an issue in the right of way, that the city will address that for the homeowner. So that was the case here. This was a very deep sewer service. So we required contracting it. It was something that our street department couldn't handle. And we needed to do it quickly, obviously, when the sewer's not working. That's a huge problem. So we did that. We contracted with Crisp Contracting. They're a local company and do an excellent job for us in such situations.
Anyone? All right, Madam Clerk. Please call the roll.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. Unfinished business, we have none. New business resolutions. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I motion to recommend, would this be final passage? Okay, authorizing the city of Nashville to enter into a contract with the town of Merrimack for transit service. So I motion to recommend final passage by roll call?
Correct.
Okay.
And Ms. Marchant, are you there?
I am, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. This is a revenue contract. It is actually a renewal of a contract that we do annually. It's just much later this year as the town of Merrimack delayed their town meeting quite a bit to accommodate social distancing and COVID safe practices. So this is a revenue contract. This is a service that we provide ADA paratransit services for those seniors and others who need rides in Merrimack to specific services.
Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you. This, I don't know whether or not you'd be able to answer this offhand, but how much revenue does this contract normally generate?
Well, this year's, I think, is 38,000. It is, we look at a kind of a 3-year trailing average of ridership. And then we make a best guess of that, always in the city's favor. And work with Merrimack to come up with a reasonable amount. There was a significant decrease last year, clearly with COVID, a lot less travel. And working with Merrimack, we assumed that would not be the case this year going forward. And so we are not expecting a significant decrease in this contract from last year.
That was going to be my follow-up question, so thank you for anticipating.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. New business ordinance, we don't have any. Record of expenditures. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that the Finance Committee has complied with the city charter and ordinance pertaining to the record of expenditures for the period from April 30th, 2021 to May 13, 2021 by roll call.
Any questions? Could you please call the roll, please, Madam Clerk?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes. General discussion. Do we have any items of general discussion from anyone? Public comment. Any member of the public wish to speak with the committee? Then we'll go to remarks by Alderman. Any remarks? Alderman O'Brien.
Yeah, to Alderman Harry Gathlight's dilemma, I can understand people getting confused. Coming from the Boston area, every neighborhood had like a name. Nashua had the same. I think some of the old time residents might remember areas of Belvedere, Edgeville, and different others. Some retained it, such as the French Hill neighborhood, but maybe we should look into getting back to our roots in some of the old neighborhoods of what they actually were. But I'm very proud to be a Southside kid, and I'm with Alderman Gathright. So there you go.
Well, that's a good idea. It would be, maybe we should do some research into what the old neighborhoods were, what maybe the neighborhood names that have been gone into use, what they really were. I mean,
Well, where I am, there is a name, I forget it, but I think I'm going to go back and look at my original deed and see what it says, because we literally had a name.
Oh, well, let's
when they built those homes back in '85.
Let's check that out.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we still have some neighborhoods that have very clear names, but some really not so much. Any other remarks by Alderman?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you. Well, we do have French Hill here in Ward 3 and the North End, but I just wanted to make an announcement. The Toll Street Mission on May 22nd, which is this Saturday, will be doing, they usually do a block party, but this time they're going to do a clean your block party. I'm hoping people will come out. As they put on their flyer, we'll feed you food and drink. It's going to be catered by Soul Sisters. They're going to have cotton candy. They're going to have music outside. It's going to start at 9 a.m. And they're just doing basically what I've been doing. They're going to be doing Whitney Street, many of the side streets, some of Canal. They're going to be doing some cleanup. We're hoping that many people will come out and help the neighbors in that area if they want even more work done. They're willing to do front yard cleanup. even do flower boxes, hanging flower baskets, and they'll continue that after on Saturday. So I hope to see more people come out, and if the rain does not hold out, they will be having a rain date of June 5th. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Any remarks by Alderman? I don't see anything, so I will call on Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn by roll call, please.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yeah, yes, sorry.
Alderman,
He already
Alderman
adjourned.
O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. The meeting is adjourned at 8:12 p.m. Hope everybody has a good evening.